Okay, I think we are live. Okay. Hi everyone. It's been a while since Sluggers has been online, and we have a special guest here today with us, Ayushi Rawat. She's one of our Sluggers pilot group students, right? The very sporadic set of the students who were subjected to a very sporadic set of classes in the last 2 months of 2021, and still she was able to manage to get a really good percentile across 3 sections and get calls from some really coveted colleges like IIM Calcutta, Lucknow, Kozhikode, Indore. I'm sure you can add. I'm sure like there are many calls, right? So and also convert the best of them. She'll be joining IIM Calcutta. That's correct, right? So
Yes.
and this session is I found her case to be a little peculiar because generally students have this concern कि should be क्या job छोड़ना चाहिए नहीं छोड़ना चाहिए साथ में preparation हो सकता है कि नहीं हो सकता है but she happens to be one such candidate who seems to have managed both of the things together quite well. And yeah, so the way what we are going to talk about today, we'll start with. I'll hand over the mic to Ayushi in a bit. I won't bore you for too long. So we'll just set up the agenda. So we'll start with talking about what was her preparation journey. When did she start with considering CAT, and उसके बाद फिर क्या हुआ? Because there's a process that almost every graduate goes through. Yeah, wait, ठीक है. That's a transition period up to like the 4 years of or 3 years, depending on which stream you're from, are over, and now you need to take some actual decisions in life. So it's a transition period, and I've been through that, and Ayushi has recently been through that. So वहाँ पे, like, what were the things that helped her? What were the decisions that she was forced to take, and how she kept her calm and was able to manage time and resources so as to get a good percentile and finally convert a good college, right? So that's उसकी बात करेंगे, and उसके बाद we'll come to the preparation aspects. So off to Ayushi. Ayushi, like you have the podium. Take us through your prep journey.
Yes. So I'll start with the basic introduction first. My name is Ayushi Rawat, and I've secured a total of 99.71 percentile this year in CAT. It was my second attempt to CAT. In the first attempt, I had 88.42 percentile, and this year I've secured 98.69 in VARC, 99.58 in the DILR section, and 98.30 in the quant section. I have completed my graduation in engineering in electronics and communication in the year 2020, and I also have a total of 11 months of work experience. So this is the basic introduction.
Yeah. So when did you start to consider about CAT? Okay, this is an exam that you have to go for, and like, what were the factors of consideration? क्या था?
Yes. So I'm the kind of person who loves to analyze whatever options I have in hand, first of all. So when I was in second year of engineering, I started with the preparation of GATE actually. Later on, like it took me very late, almost after a year, I realized this is not something what I want to do. I'm not enjoying this particular thing, and this is not my cup of tea. So when I was in the final year of my college, we had this lockdown. We were having classes online from home only. So then I decided to go for CAT exam because in particular, I realized business and entrepreneurship was something that really interested me. And so I started this preparation. I remember I had just 3 months when it was my first attempt to CAT in November 2020. So that time I prepared for 3 months, and I was able to give around 3 to 4 mocks only. So with that, I scored 88 percentile. But then I knew that I could score better. Although I had converts from colleges like Sirmaur, Jammu, Bodh Gaya in the first attempt, but I know that I could have scored better, and I wanted to try for it again because the thing there was I believed in myself that I can get a really good college and I can get a better percentile. So I tried again for another year. I improved my weaknesses, worked on the strength I was having already, and VRC was my weakest section. So in the first attempt, I just had a 73 percentile in VRC. I was not able to clear even the cutoff for most of the colleges. So I particularly worked on the VRC section along with improving DILR and quants as well, and that's how I reached this particular score.
So one important thing that I want to like point out here for everyone who's listening to this and who might be listening to this later, here काफी बार आप लोग जो आप 3 घंटे में एग्जाम देके आते हैं, in this case I think this was 2 hours, right? 2020 was 2 hours.
Yes.
Like that's a very specific scenario. Like even when you go to B schools ना, आपको जब quantitative applications and management form करके हमें subject हुआ करता था, when they teach you that subject, there'll be one concept that they'll teach you that, okay, in a bell curve, if you have a bell curve here, like if you try to figure out the probability of a certain event, let's say, let's say the bell curve is about the various values that x take. I'm going to bring in mathematics everywhere. Huh? I find a way to do that. Yeah. So, but please bear with me. थोड़ा बहुत यहाँ पे कुछ काम की चीजें मुझे लग रही हैं. So if you take a bell curve, let's say it's about the x taking a various set of values, and if you try to figure out the probability of x taking a range of values from, let's say, 7, मान लो 0 से 10 के बीच में bell curve बना हुआ है और आपको 7 से 9 का निकालना है. So you'll get an area for the numerator, and total will be your 100, like total area of the bell curve. So you'll get some value. However, if you try to figure out the probability of x taking a singular value, one particular value, the probability will always be 0. That's the concept that is taught. What I mean to say here is कि आप जब 2 घंटे में एग्जाम देने जाते हैं with a particular set of questions, with a particular mindset, with something having going on like at the back of your head at that point of time, and like that's a very specific scenario, and if you try to judge your capabilities based on that specific situation, well, you will definitely get incorrect, like you will not get accurate results always. So पहली चीज तो यहाँ पे ये what Ayushi did here, like in her first attempt, she did not get great percentiles. She did not doubt her own abilities here. कि हाँ यार ठीक है, ये 2 घंटे के एग्जाम में अगर ऐसा हो गया तो मतलब प्रॉब्लम है. So that's something that's very important for every student to understand कि देखो यार CAT और जितने भी आपके एग्जाम्स हैं, these are all proxies. Okay, these are proxies. They are supposed to provide these institutes the best way that there is so far in our मतलब हमारी generation में to filter out candidates from such a large pool in such a short period of time. If they had more resources कि हाँ ज़्यादा time available होता बहुत ज़्यादा, तो बाद में they would have gone for more accurate tests. So first thing is you need to understand कि like उसमें से खुद को judge मत करिए. Okay, so and then you start to like work on your skills कि हाँ क्या चीज़ आपकी कोई कौन सी खामी आपकी रह गई थी, and then start working on them such that you can ensure that irrespective of the set of questions that you might encounter in the exam, you'll still perform better because you've like covered all the areas that have to be covered for that subject, right? So that's the first part. So हाँ तो ये तो actually आपने बताया, and then like so this is about the motivational aspect that you talked about.
Yes.
I want to understand that see you were working, I think you work with 2 companies like
Yes.
And then how, like at what point of time did you, I want to understand your time management and resource management throughout after your first attempt until this attempt.
Right. So I started working in the month of August 2020, and then I worked in a core company, in a semiconductors company till April 2021. So it was a 8-month long duration. After that, I was studying a little bit. After the first attempt got over, I started my preparation in the month of February, but I picked up pace after this job got over in the month of April. So I had April, then it was May, June, July. I started for these 3 months dedicatedly and worked on all the 3 areas that there were. And because I did preparation last year for just 3 months, so I had to cover everything again. So it was not like I was I knew everything. I had to cover all the topics once again. And then it just struck me that it will be a really long gap if I continue studying. So I decided to explore other areas of interest and the fields that I'm interested in. So I was inclined towards digital marketing. And then in the month of July, I took up a second job in the field of advertisement and performance marketing, which was related to the digital marketing field only. And then there I had to manage my prep and my study together. So I worked there for around 3 months. I left my job in the month of October because of preparation reasons only, because I wasn't able to dedicate much time to it, and the improvement that was there in particularly VARC was a little slow for me, and I just had almost 1.5 months left to the exam. So I decided of leaving the job and focusing completely on my preparation at that point of time. But while
your voice is stuck, Ayushi. I'm not able to hear you. I think the connection seems to be stuck from your end. I think even now it seems to be stuck. Uh, you're not audible. Wait. I'll just. It's still not audible. Still not audible. You might not. You can try. Okay. Is this? You're back.
Am I on?
You're back.
Yes. Right.
So you had gotten to the point. You're talking about you left your job in October. That's how far we heard you.
Yes. Yes. So I left my job in October to focus completely on my prep, because whatever improvement I was seeing in the section, especially VRC, it was very little. And I knew I had exam in less than in 1.5 months. So I knew I needed to put more efforts and I need to dedicate more time to it. That is why I decided of leaving the job at that point of time and focus completely on my studies. But while I was working, I tried to dedicate hours for studying during early morning or late at night, because I had like long working hours, so I couldn't devote it in the middle. So that's why I tried managing that way. And mocks, I used to attempt them every weekend.
Okay. So again, a few points that I want to point out here. First of all, I can totally vouch for the nature of your job, like in performance marketing and ad marketing, because I've myself worked in that domain in the past, and I know how grueling that is. Especially you were on I think the vendor side, right? So the clients would like send the requirements at any hour of the day, and that's something that's peculiar to that domain. So yes, that's quite grueling, as grueling as it gets, I think, in corporate jobs. So तो पहली बात तो वो है. दूसरा and still you were able to manage time in the morning and थोड़ा बहुत आप शाम को भी निकाल पा रहे थे. What you also find peculiar in Ayushi's case is that like she left her job in October. And then October was like when you, and then that's like almost 1 month, and by this time भाई स्टूडेंट्स तो काफी बार यहाँ तक ऐसे मान चुके होते हैं कि अच्छा अब जो होना है वो इस साल नहीं होना है, अगले साल होना है.
Yes.
And see, this reminds me of the school days exams. School days के जो exams होते थे. So sometimes in board exams क्या होगा काफी बार कि they will give you like 7 days holiday for a particular paper. And they did that for chemistry in my case. Although उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ा because it was chemistry. So but what would I observed a very peculiar phenomena there कि वहाँ पे in the first 2-3 days you're not going to do anything. वहाँ पे तो कुछ नहीं होगा. उसके बाद when you come to the 4th or 5th day ना, तो आपके पास बस एक ही दिन बचा है. आपने बस किताब का बस वही चैप्टर मार्क किए हैं, कौन कौन से इंपॉर्टेंट चैप्टर हैं. That's all you've done and nothing else. You just have one more day remaining. You have 2 choices at that point of time. You can either think retrospectively. आप सोचो कि यार अरे यार 3 दिन थे, 4 दिन थे, इतना कर लिया तो कितना अच्छा होता. You can think of it retrospectively, or you can think of the prospects. Okay, you still have 48 hours remaining. Okay, there is so much. If you can just complete this particular chapter in the next 2 hours, उसके बाद next में ये कर लो, फिर next में ये कर लो, and so on and so forth, you'll be able to cover so much ground. And then both of these thought processes have a very crucial impact on your motivational levels. अगर आप रेट्रोस्पेक्टिवली सोचेंगे तो आपके मोटिवेशनल लेवल्स कभी उतने नहीं आएंगे, बिकॉज देन योर बॉडी विल गेट प्राइम टुवर्ड्स कि नहीं ठीक है अब तो जो होना था हो गया है, अगले साल देखो वैसे. सो आई थिंक दैट्स एंड दिस आल्सो रिमाइंड्स मी आयुषी ऑफ जो मुझे हमारे जो क्लासेस थे ना सितंबर अक्टूबर में, one thing that I'm clearly guilty about is not having those sessions regularly. So and at that point of time I had some throat issue, वो सब अलग बात है, but any जो कुछ भी हो गए I was not able to take, like मैं सभी को ये बता रहा हूँ, sessions very regularly, and every once in a while there'll be a session, उसके बाद फिर there'll be a hiatus, and then there'll be a session, and so on and so forth. Although the students had been associated with me even before, तो उस time से थोड़ा लोग classes करते आ रहे थे, but towards the end the frequency was sporadic. It was not like था ही नहीं, ऐसा नहीं था, but sporadic था वैसे. So and yet what I observed was there were a certain set of students who would still be there जब वो क्लासेस हम लोग कर रहे हैं. अच्छा, जो लोग नहीं थे उसमें बहुत बड़ी गलती हो गई ऐसा नहीं, What I just mean to say, I'm trying to pinpoint the motivation here. Even in those last days, the motivation did not go down. Right? कि जहाँ पे भी लग रहा है कि नहीं यहाँ पे कुछ value gain हो सकता है, you guys were there. I recall you being there in the sessions and वो कौन से आंसर में क्या हो रहा है वो आप बता रहे हो मुझे अभी भी याद. So right, so that mindset ना कि नहीं अभी एक महीना बचा है तो नहीं एक महीना बचा है और नहीं एक ही महीना बचा है. That makes a big difference. So yeah, so that yeah.
And like I would like to point out here ki a lot of credit goes to you as well, because although the classes were a little irregular, I agree on that, but you were there to motivate us always. You used to send us these podcasts and everything. That was a very important thing, and that kept us motivated throughout this journey of preparation.
Yeah. So that is something that happens to me. कुछ अचानक से कुछ आता है and I used to just take up the phone and यहाँ पे रख के इसी टेबल पे I would do that. So I'm happy to hear that कि उससे फर्क पड़ा. अच्छा दूसरा चीज ना, so let's next actually I think let's talk about VRC preparation के अंदर वाली बात करते हैं, because I think there is a lot of maybe at least some myths about this section which are prevalent. For example, काफी बार लोगों को लगता है कि RC में यार like it's subjective. Things are subjective कि उसको वो interpret वो कुछ और कर सकता है, आप कुछ और interpret कर सकते हो, कभी ये लगेगा कभी ये लगेगा and so on and so forth. Things are like very chaotic and very subjective, and I differ here, and I hope that you probably also do.
Yes.
Hope इसलिए because हम लोग वो sessions कर चुके हैं इसलिए hope. So not to agree with me necessarily, but yeah. So I want to talk about like what do you think? Like first of all, what's your take on the subjectivity of the correct or incorrect options in VRC1? Second, what do you think is something that can be helpful or was helpful in your case? Yes.
So addressing the first thing that you mentioned, there is always one right answer only, but it depends on us how we are interpreting it. So it happened a lot with me during the first time I attempted CAT, that I used to always mark the wrong option, and then I was also thinking this ki I had the correct reasoning, why is this wrong, what just happened here? But later on, as I tried to discover, I was going wrong in my own reasoning, and there I improved on that and corrected that thing, and later on I saw that I was able to match the particular answer's reasoning with time, and this came very good, like gradually this came. One thing that was immensely helpful here was eliminating the options. So everyone will say that don't rush after selecting the right answer, but choose first eliminate the wrong options that are there, but no one will tell you how to do that exactly. One thing Sluggers has done here to help in this bit was that you gave us a very definite framework over here. So we had this different error categories: if it is true but not relevant, if it is an error of distortion, inclusion, or assumption. So the next time whenever I was solving a RC, I had this deliberately put into my mind that I'll see the option and I'll try to classify it, which kind of error this particular option fits in, and that has immensely helped me, because even if I were wrong in some answers, I had a reasoning behind it, and I knew that where I went wrong when I saw the correct answer to that particular thing. So this defined framework has helped me in choosing the right answer, and that's why I was able to narrow down from all the options that were there.
Correct. Fair enough. So I'll just try to give a brief overview about what Ayushi is referred to here, like the various types of errors. So what we have done here, what we have been able to do in the last couple of years is कि आपके जो भी 4-5 options आते हैं ना RC के अंदर, so one of the options will be correct and the rest of the 3 are going to be incorrect, right? There is only a very limited number of ways in which these options can be incorrect. ठीक है, या फिर वो like either the question setter will distort something that is given in the passage, either or they will like make certain assumptions which are uncalled for, or they might include something from outside. So what we have simply done here, we have created these categories of 4 to 5 types of errors, and अभी वो पिछले साल में थोड़ा सा और evolve हो गया है, but so which makes it easier for the student कि ठीक है यार, आपको अगर पता है कि किस तरह के दुश्मन आपके सामने आने वाला है, तो आप उसके मतलब आपको पता you can eliminate it easily, कि हाँ ये तो EOI है, इसको निकाल दे यहाँ पे, this is error of distortion, इसको यहाँ पे निकाल दे. I think that's what Ayushi you're referring to, right? So that basically brought some order to the process.
Yes.
Right. And with respect to this, so another realization that I've had in the last few weeks is something that I want to talk about, and I use this the aid of this particular PPT to talk about that. Just let's see if we can have it on the screen. Yeah, I think, okay. So I believe that when it comes to skill development, in fact, this is something that I'm speculating that applies not just to VARC or these, like just any particular subject. It applies to almost anything that you're trying to learn. And but I'll still keep my conversation, my discussion relevant to VARC and RC से मैं बात करूँ. So जब आप RC solve करना शुरू करते हैं, तो the first stage is the chaotic stage, जहाँ पे initially आपका काफी बार, and chaotic stage is characterized by getting some really good scores sometimes and then getting some really bad scores sometimes, and then it will also be characterized by inferences on these lines. आपकी जो inferences होंगे ना उस टाइम पे वो ऐसे होंगे कि यार हमेशा क्या बोलते हैं, you'll probably go on the lines कि नहीं मैंने ये लास्ट में तो यही सोचा था पर बाद में when I end up marking the wrong one, I always end up marking the wrong one. I will be able to eliminate the first two, right? And so what I mean to say here is that your inferences and your insights from your attempts will not be based on the content of the RC and the options, but rather on ki ho kya hai, which shows that you're basically able to look at things on a very low resolution level, right? So and we always, humans will always have a tendency to detect patterns. उनको आप पूरा डेटा दो या नहीं दो, वो पैटर्न्स तो देख के बताएंगे आपको, ठीक है? और अगर पूरा डेटा दिए बिना जब आपको पैटर्न्स बताएंगे, then they will become superstitions. Okay, and but when those pattern detecting tendencies are deployed to, let's say, on actual data, you get like algorithms and sciences, right? So that's, by the way, religion science ka difference here. So in case of RCs as well, the job of the educator or of the instructor here is to force you to have a better resolution in terms of कि ठीक है, errors, गलत options तो बहुत सारे होते हैं, but किस तरह से गलत हुआ है. So when I ask you to differentiate between two types of errors, which one of them is error of inclusion and the other is error of distortion, both of them are incorrect, but you're forced to think about it. ठीक है, this option is incorrect because it includes something from the outside of the passage, and this one is incorrect because it just swaps a couple of adjectives in the passage. And when you get that kind of resolution, then the same RC, like two people might be looking at the same RC, but someone who has a better resolution will be able to see a lot of other things, right? The first person might see कि हाँ ठीक है, RC में कुछ main idea दिया हुआ है, ऐसे कुछ करके है. The second person will actually be able to see नहीं, RC में like the author could have said 50 different things. If you can just replace these words, आप इसको थोड़ा सा change कर दो, ये इतना सब बदल जाएगा. But he doesn't say those 49, he says this one thing, right? So that's the level of resolution that is brought to picture by that is brought to the forefront, like which is enforced only by having you work on the RCs via some frameworks. One of the frameworks, जैसे आयुषी ने बताया, is the various types of errors. Another framework was the mode of elimination, right? How we label the options which we are very sure about eliminating with a capital E, small e, O, small s, capital S. And अभी recently एक और नया निकल के आया है, so that will be helpful to the future learners. So that's the order part. And now comes the next part. ये जो mastery वाला part है, this is something that I've stumbled onto very recently. And Ayushi, this might be, I think, new to you, but I think it will be relevant because आगे कहीं ना कहीं, this is a very, I think this applies ubiquitously. Order आने के बाद, once you have these frameworks and everything in mind, आप सब कुछ सीख चुके हो. उसके बाद the mastery part is where you naturally stop thinking in terms of these frameworks. Okay, that's when you have gained the mastery, right? Because now, like these things have become so ingrained, and you know that your job is just to find the right option. So you will not go on and actually go on and label that because आपको पता है timer चल रहा है, वो सब चल रहा है. And I have observed this in paragymnals and many parks be observed. Okay, so even in case of any other skill, like if you're playing a sport, like initially आपको सब techniques बताए जाएंगे कि ये swing है, tennis में पूरा swing करके यहाँ लेके आना है, ये करना है. So you follow that for a certain period of time, and then once it gets ingrained, you go natural, right? So then you don't think in terms of those frameworks. So that's the mastery part, and that's the job of the instructor or the coach is always to get you from chaos to mastery. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about here. Yeah, Ayushi, you have anything to add? Do so.
Yes, and besides this, I would like to add that first of all, whenever a learner is starting, he or she will start with the RC because that is the major section and comprises 70% of the whole VRC section. But then VA portion is extremely important and it should not be neglected. So we have also practiced VA with you. There were different techniques that came out during that, the strong and slack pair thing that we did in parajumbles. So these are the little things that have also helped immensely because VA section is also important to gain marks.
Correct. That's right. So we had the LPAT toolkit, right? So for
Yes.
paragymnals, and then we had I think para summary. Maybe we have similar types of incorrect summaries, right? Summaries, error of distortion, etc. And then for I think for on and out we had the grouping method, right?
Yes,
The
yes.
grouping method. So yeah. So that मेरे को ध्यान से हट गया था because we have not taken the EVA classes so far this year. So by the way, which brings me to the point that we'll be starting in a couple of weeks the batches for this year for VRC. So उसकी details मैं बाद में डालूंगा. I don't want to like talk about that right now. That's the VRC preparation part. Next, so थोड़ा सा हम लोग Ayushi, let's move. Let's also have a brief discussion about DLR and quant. So what according to you are some important factors to consider for any student when they are preparing for these sections, like in terms of कि chapter wise कितनी चीजें करनी चाहिए, sections कितने जरूरी हैं, mocks क्या है, and like any other learnings on this.
Right. So particularly for the DILR section, timed practice is extremely important because anyone will be able to solve the question when he or she has ample amount of time. But when you are practicing, you have to put yourself in that state, in that time constraint, and you have to be, you have to get comfortable with it in some duration of time. So that is one thing. So I always used to put this stopwatch whenever I was practicing DILR question. And for DILR, you have to practice as many different types of set as you can. Sectionals are a really great help when it comes to the DILR section. And then one thing which is extremely important for the exam is the set selection, because you don't want to pick the most difficult set of the lot. It shouldn't be the very first set that you're attempting, because you will end up wasting a larger chunk of time over that. So the first one has to be easy to moderate set, the very first that you pick. So that is one thing for the DILR section. Then for the quant section, practice matters a lot, because I still remember in my first attempt in CAT 2020, I could hardly attempt 5 questions. So I did not have enough practice. Although I knew the concepts, but I was not able to solve every question due to because I didn't practice enough. My speed was slow in quants. So practice is really important in quants, and you have to focus on the conceptual knowledge also. That is really important for quant section, I would say. And coming to how you'll attempt the paper, I implemented a round strategy wherein in the first round, I tried to take up all the easy questions that are there in the lot, and then in the second round I would target the moderate ones, because even in the exam, because in mocks and in practice people would be solving moderate and tough questions as well, but on the actual day of exam, what you need to do is you need to solve the easy and moderate ones to get a good score. And I have solved the easy to moderate ones only in quants, and I was able to get 98.30 percentile in quant section. So that's from my side. And one more thing I'd like to add for the quant section is that you have to be aware of your strength and your weak sections. So you need to know which area is your strongest, which section is which chapters are your strongest, so that you can target those questions in the exam. And if let's say a very difficult question comes from a section that you like, you don't have to run after that particular question. You will anyways target easy to moderate question from all the chapters that are there in quants.
Okay, perfect. That kind of sums almost all of the points. I'll just elaborate on a couple of points that you mentioned there. So जहाँ पे guys, when Ayushi talked about the time scenario, it's basically, see, your CAT exam is not going to be about कि ठीक है चलिए आप बैठ जाइए, ये chapter है आपके सामने, इसके सारे questions solve करके submit the assignment and we're going to grade your assignment. That's not your CAT exam. Your CAT exam is basically you have this set of questions in a very fixed amount of time, and you're just, they don't want to see your like obviously वो जो आप sheets वहाँ देते हैं, they take those away, but they are not sent to the IIMs, of course, and you realize that. I'm not मजाक नहीं कर रहा, but point is, like, students often forget that, like because during the preparation stage मैंने ये काफी बार देखा है, like, why are we spending, okay, you need to spend some time on clearing your basics, fundamentals, but it has to be some time. some cannot become all after some time कि हाँ उसके बाद all हो गया उसके बाद and so your actual situation in CAT is going to be chaotic, right? कि बहुत सारे variables आ रहे हैं, इधर कोई और बैठ के बोल के पढ़ रहा है, कुछ और यहाँ पे पंखे की आवाज आ रही है, and if you're not able to handle these this kind of chaos in a constrained environment, like your practice environment is something that is totally comfortable, and your actual exam or test environment is something that is just the opposite of that. You can't expect a similar performance there, right? So इसलिए so that's where Ayushi's point is very apt here, that your practice has to be timed. In fact, I'm a very big proponent of going over indexed in terms of the number of mocks you attempt, right? कि mocks मतलब इसमें मॉक्स में प्रॉब्लम एक्चुअली ये होता है ना कि जैसे ही वो रिजल्ट खत्म होकर स्क्रीन पे आता है कि दिस इज योर परसेंटाइल, पीपल उसको दिल पे लगा लेते हैं कि हाँ ये हूं मैं, एंड देन ऑब्वियसली यू विल नॉट फील ग्रेट अबाउट दैट, यू विल नॉट गो लाइक दिस इज बेसिकली दिस पर्टिकुलर अटेम्प्ट हैज बीन रेटेड ऑन दिस स्केल. यू आर वेल एज समवन, कहीं तो किसी ने बोला था, यू आर बिकमिंग, यू आर नॉट समथिंग, यू आर स्टिल इन द प्रोसेस ऑफ बिकमिंग समथिंग, राइट? सो टेक देम एज फीडबैक एंड इंडिकेटर्स. या सो that's a great point, Ayushi, वो है. And yeah, so the same thing applies to like VARC and the overall test as well, not just DLR and quant. Like you have to take more number of mocks, and right. So yeah, so that's I think about it. Anything else you think could be useful to anyone who might be preparing at this point of time?
So as you mentioned about the mock, so I would like to tell this thing here, that when I left my job and started giving mocks again, so there were times I've scored just 37 percentile in mocks, but I did not get dejected by it. I took it as a learning opportunity, because I felt this is the worst I could have scored. Nothing could go worse than this. I will score better in exam only. And then I took it as a learning opportunity and worked on the weaknesses and improved the strength areas that I have. So mocks are never an actual reflection of what you are going to score on the exam day. So I never reached, like, it was only one or two times that I have scored 99. So I was never on that 99 mark in my mocks, but I actually ended up scoring 99.71. So that is what matters. You have to take it as a learning opportunity, and you have to perform. You'll see that the exam is a bit different from the mock, and mock score will never be an actual reflection of what you are going to get in the exam. So mindset really matters here. You have to go there with a very positive mindset. You need to have that confidence within yourself when you're going to appear for the exam.
Correct. That's absolutely correct. That matters a lot. वो जो हमें लगता है ना कि हमें कैट आपका पूरा एक साल में क्रैक होता है. It's not really that. It's basically those small bouts of learning, intense learning, जहाँ पे आपने practice किया chaos में, and then how you execute in those few hours there. So right. Yeah. So obviously, the rest of it does the job of creating the atmosphere so that you can get those small bouts of learning, right? So directly you cannot be कि हाँ party से आके आप सीधा phone पे पहला question करने लगे. So वैसे नहीं होगा. So yeah, that's correct. So yeah, I think that sums it up. Anything else और कुछ छूट रह गया Ayushi? And
consistency, I would like to point out, that is extremely important. So I gave 4 to 5 hours every day, but this was the case for me. It will be different for everyone. Someone has to put 7 to 8 hours daily. Someone will be able to put 2 to 3 hours if he or she is working. So this differs from everyone, but then you have to be very consistent in your preparation. It's not like you need to study 7 to 8 hours one day and the next week you are just wasting your time. So consistency is really important, and you need to find a reason behind it. You need to believe in yourself. You need to find a reason for being consistent. So that is really important, and for that I believe vision clarity matters a lot. No one needs to have an absolute clarity of what they want in life, but then they need to analyze what all options they have and then go with the best possible one. So this is extremely important, and this will help you stay consistent throughout the prep journey.
Aptly put. इसमें okay, we have a question. Did you have any backup? The question is from Sanket. He says, did you have any backup plan if you failed at CAT?
So first of all, I did not think about failing at CAT. I was confident that if I put efforts, then I am going to get a good percentile. But still, if I wouldn't have scored well, then I would have taken a job. I would have taken a third job, and then I would have worked there and again tried for it, because I know eventually I'll be able to get good score in the exam. So I would have given one more attempt.
Right. I'll just add to that. Sanket, एक दो point मैं इसमें add करूँगा. So see, why Ayushi's answer here makes sense is first of all, ठीक है. I'm not saying that you should be blinded to the possibility कि हाँ ऐसा हो सकता है. All I think what she's trying to say here is that that should not serve as a backdoor to decrease your enthusiasm or your efforts when you're actually working for the exam. Because अगर आपने कहीं ना कहीं दिमाग में आपने ज्यादा सोच लिया ना कि नहीं क्या नहीं हुआ तो क्या करेंगे, नहीं हुआ तो क्या करेंगे, तो जो होने के लिए जो करना है वो आप नहीं कर पाओ. Like and you'll start looking for that. You know, it's very easy to like when someone is like really down and in a very pressured situation and बहुत मुश्किल से वो कहीं कर पा रहा है, उसको हल्का सा एक आप गिव अप करने वाला थोड़ा सा दे दो कि हाँ, और and it will sound very sweet, कि हाँ अरे नहीं next year पूरा, and then this will happen in your head, like notice this, आपके दिमाग में आएगा नहीं नेक्स्ट ईयर अब जनवरी से ही पूरा अच्छे से करेंगे, so that it doesn't sound bad. Your brain will make up these ideas कि okay नहीं नेक्स्ट ईयर में ये भी कर लूंगा, ये भी कर लूंगा, ये भी हो जाएगा, ये भी कर लूंगी, and so on and so forth, so that it becomes easy for you to give up. Okay, again, not saying that you should be blinded to the possibilities, just saying that consider that once, एक बार सोच लो, and that's what the title of the session is, that make a decision once and then stick to it. So when she decided to quit a job, and I think like she made a decision, and like once that was done, I think at least in November में I don't think आयुषी आपके दिमाग में ये सब चीजें आई होंगी कि हाँ नहीं हुआ तो क्या होगा, ये सब.
Never.
Right. So and you can have that mindset only if you have the confidence that well if it doesn't go well, you it's not the end of the world, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of things to do. If you guys have heard of this value investing and क्या बोलते हैं ट्रेडिंग, या आपने सुना होगा, ट्रेडिंग इज जस्ट ऑन द अदर साइड ऑफ वैल्यू इन्वेस्टिंग. ट्रेडिंग इज बेसिकली स्टॉक प्राइसेस ऊपर नीचे आ रहे हो, उसमें खेल के पैसे कमाओ. वैल्यू इन्वेस्टिंग इज बेसिकली व्हेन you try to look at the fundamentals of a company कि actually ये आगे does it have a product market fit or not, the proper business model इसका है कि नहीं है, right? If you know that and then you know कि नहीं ये आगे चल कंपनी काम करने वाली है, then you will not be worried about the slight variations. So think of yourselves as valuable stock options, not as and like bet on yourself, right? Because well you have to bet on yourself. So yeah. So that's, I think I hope Sanket that answers your query to some extent. Okay, so I think that covers a lot of things that we wanted to talk about, and yeah, nothing else comes to mind. About sluggers के बारे में जो लोग नए हैं पहली बार देख रहे हैं, so the approach that I and as you might have noticed that I inadvertently end up bringing in some numbers और कुछ ना कुछ चीजें वो आ जाती हैं. So I don't even know like मैं ये बोलने वाला हूँ before the talks. And I think that is an advantage that I have been able to bring to the VARC section, right? Yes. Where I've been able to order things properly, and ये इस type का है, ये इस type का, ये इस type का है, and which by virtue of which we have been able to what do you say, make things easy in terms of developing the skills and take the subjectivity out of reading comprehension and the VARC section. So if you think that this is something that can benefit you, like we'll be launching, अभी YouTube के sessions काफी महीनों से 2-3 महीनों से बंद है, but this week onwards I think we'll start going live in the next 2 weeks, and then we'll start having the paid courses 2 weeks down the line. So yeah, you guys can always reach out. The Telegram channels and everything are there I'll put them in the description. So yeah, thanks. So that's about it, right? Sanket says thanks. Thanks, Sanket. So we hope that the session was helpful, and thanks to all of the listeners. So Ayushi, parting words?
So to all the aspirants that are out there, I would like to tell you that be motivated in this entire journey. Be consistent. Don't let the stress of exam get to you. Whatever scores you are getting in mock, take it as a learning opportunity, and stay healthy mentally and physically, and surround yourself with people who can act as a strong support system for you during this time. That's it.
Okay, that's the perfect closure. I'm not gonna like try something else. So with that, we are closing the session. Ayushi, okay, so thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a ton, and I'll see you in the next session. Hopefully, starting with the classes tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Okay, Ayushi, you can still be here. The live
Yes.